Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the show today. My name is Toyin Morafa, and I'm here talking with the voice of the voiceless. This afternoon, first and foremost, would like to say a hearty congratulations to Heritage TV for their second year anniversary. Over the years, Heritage TV has been developing new programs. They've been doing adverts. They've been covering different shows, different music, different people. So we'd like to say very, very big congratulations, and we hope this is like 20 more years. Now, this afternoon, I'm privileged to have with me today a deacon, and a father and a husband. His name is Deacon Adeoye Obanleowo, and he's the head of evangelism and youth development and empowerment of the Higher Ground Christian Assembly. I'd like to say welcome to the show.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much for coming, to appear on here. Just like every other person out there, Ms. Deacon Obanleowo has been concerned about what's been happening, in our society with regards to the knife stabbings, the youth gang violence, and that's the reason why he's here today. Once again, thank you very much. Firstly, let's talk about, being a parent and add that one to you being the head of the youth evangelism, in your church. How do you see what's happening in the community now? The new menace that is happening in our community, where these youths keep stabbing each other and one another, without any consequences. Any thoughts, of what their actions and consequences are on the society?
Thank you very much, moderator. I think the problem we have with youths these days is, unfortunately, when we look at the way the system is designed, charity begins at home.
Right. And
all these problems did not just emanate all of a sudden. These are problems that we have not realized are going to be coming 30, 40. So the system is not there to take care of all these problems.
Right.
Now, we have to look at it from the family background. As they always say, charity begins at home.
That's true.
When you have children, myself being a father myself, it is the responsibility of two parents, both the father and the mother, to make sure that your children, irrespective of who they think they are, irrespective of how they perceive themselves to be, the father and the mother are the head of that family, and the children are still under those parents as long as they are still living in that house.
Right.
No child, no matter who you are, no matter how old you are, no child is bigger than the parent.
That's right.
Now, when you look at most of the problems that we have, black on blacks, all these killings and all these problems that has actually you've just highlighted in the last, I think the problem became so rampant in the last 15, 20 years. I mean, I've been here for 3 decades, and these were not problems that just happened, that just developed overnight. It has always been in the pipeline. But
so
what are the causes?
Why do you think this has happened? Why do you think it's been growing over 15, 20 years?
The problem is most of the issues relating to knife crime, which are gang related, in as much as I don't want to put the blame solely at the feet of society itself. You have to look inwards into the family background. Most of these black kids that engage themselves in violent crimes, gang activities, they are from broken homes.
That's true.
They are from broken homes. And an idle hand is an idle mind. When you don't give these people, these children, a sense of belonging and a sense of purpose, they have so much time on their hands. When they get to school, their mind is far away. They're not concentrating in school. They're not concentrating in class. Rather than engaging with their studies and get other things that are going to occupy their minds, they're busy looking for ways to cause mayhem within their community. And when you as a parent, right, you have to take cognizance of certain things. When you notice some things, some behaviors with your children, from a very early stage. You have to make sure that you address those problems before it gets out of hand.
Right, right.
Those are the issues. Some parents just take certain things for granted. And a family that prays together stays together, which means most of these children, from a very early age, you have to commit your children right into the path of doing things the proper way, the way God wants you to do things.
Right.
And that means bringing your children up with the fear of God.
Right.
Now, as parents, I think we owe our children a duty of care. And duty of care in the sense that if you are not a responsible father, if you're not a responsible mother, then what do you expect to become of your children?
Right.
I mean, you come home whenever you feel like, you argue with your children, there is always violence. So obviously, kids in this country, they're going to pick on most of these things and begin to see that as an instrument to build on. When there is so much indiscipline within the house, within the family, it affects the children, and it takes time for people to begin to understand that most of these problems did not just happen start overnight.
Right.
So the children, they watch their parents. If you come from a family background that is so solid that your children see the way you and your wife do things, obviously the children are going to embrace those ideologies, and that is going to have an impact on their lives.
Right.
I don't believe in shouting or smacking, but show your children the way, how to do things properly. Give them what they need and not just what they want.
What they want.
Yes.
Right.
Because unfortunately, social media is not even helping matters these days.
That's
because
true.
You see some group of children who are going to school, and their parents can afford to give them money to buy mobile phones.
Before you go into that, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that's another thing that I'd like to, to talk about later.
Mm.
But I picked up a couple of things from what you were saying.
Yeah.
Now, on Tuesday, the 26th of March, as everybody was aware, we had the program at the Parliament, regarding this youth gang violence as well. So a lot of things were talked about there.
Yeah.
One of them being our chief executive and producer over here.
Yeah.
He said that the parents these days, they're not talking in the language that the children understand. How true do you think that is? Have we lost, is there a disconnect somewhere between parents and children these days?
That's a very good question. Disconnection, yes, I would say at least in relation to African children, especially the ones that came from different parts of Africa to come here,
Right.
and the ones that were born here. You see, there's always this mentality that children born in this country lack manners, lack respect. But as I said earlier, the problem is, you have to understand the genesis and the problems of those children right from their family background.
Right.
Environment as well does not help matters. You see, because when you have children and you cannot vouch for your children in terms of their movements,
Right.
when they're meant to be in school, when they're meant to be back from school,
Right.
are they doing what they're meant to be doing at the right time?
Right.
Are they under the supervision of their parents? But when you have parents where they're just doing their own thing, probably the father just goes when he leaves work, he's not back home on time, and you leave everything in the care of the mother. The mother cannot control the children. You see, because parenting involves two parents. And myself being a parent as well, especially in this country, it is not an easy role. You have to continuously look for ways to make your children better. You see, because as a black child in this country, for you to be successful, you need to work twice as hard as your white counterpart. And you have to begin to wonder, why is it that children from the Asian community are doing so well and so well mannered compared to African children? Sometimes parents will bring their children from Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Gambia, all other parts of Africa, because they want a better life for their children here. But you now begin to understand, why is it that it's these children that come from different parts of the country that come here that always go AWOL?
So
Commit their mentality as soon as they get into the UK, their orientation, their attitude to life, to studies, and everything, it changes.
So do you think it's like a culture clash? Because you know when we were growing up back home,
Yeah.
we charity they always say begins at home.
Sure.
We were brought up to respect our seniors, you know, our brothers and sisters, even the big brothers and sisters we had in in our community.
Yeah.
You could not call the older ones by name, their
Yeah.
names for example,
Yeah.
without calling them aunties or
Yeah.
uncles.
Yeah.
But when you're over here, things like that are no longer adhered to, neither are they respected. So do you think it's that a part of it is a family breakdown, or is it the cultural clash, or is it like the freedom, you know, that we have here?
You see, sometimes too much freedom it creates a lot of things which, you know, are not really acceptable in modern day life.
Right.
As Africans, the way we were brought up is to respect the basic norms and values of society, which is our family, culture, and all that. Now, unfortunately, a lot of our people, when we come into this country, we leave our manners, our discipline, everything. We leave it back home where we come from, and now come here and embrace the wrong mentality, the wrong ideologies, and start comparing ourselves to the way these people, you know, do their things here, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of people can blame it on society. When you're in Rome, you behave like a Roman. No, I don't belong to that school of thought. When you are in Rome, you embrace the good things about Rome, not the bad antecedents. Now, unfortunately, majority of our black kids, discipline is very, very common among them. When they get to school, they don't respect their teachers, they don't respect authority, nobody can talk to them. And some parents, rather than trying to engage their children in such a way that they will understand that it's not about today, it's about their future. Let me give you an instance. This is a country that relies so much on CRB.
Right.
Are you trying to tell me that a teacher who has about 40 or 50 pupils to teach in class, and one or two pupils in class are trying to be unruly? Do you think because of those two students, he or she is going to allow those pupils who are ill-mannered and disciplined to ruin her career? Because anything that she does or she says can be used against her, and automatically that could have an impact on our CRB. So it now goes down to unfortunately the way the system wants us to live our lives. The system, they've taken everything away from the parents. But as parents, we need to stand firm to say, look, at the end of the day, there's always this adage in Yoruba, so as parents, I think we would owe our children that responsibility to make sure that we bring them up, one, with the fear of God. We make sure that discipline is key to everything that we do. Without that, these children, later on in life, I hope they will not say, but Dad, Mom, when I was doing this, you never taught me the way of Christ. You never taught me the things that I needed to know. So it's imperative that we understand that discipline and charity begins at home. The government cannot take care of everything. Yes. When you notice certain behavior with your children, it is our responsibility as parents to make sure that we do everything needful to make sure that we correct all these abnormalities. If it's the kind of friends that they are keeping that is making them go astray, then it is your responsibility to make sure that you put a stop to the kind of friends they are keeping. 2, the issue of mobile phones. Mobile phone is becoming a distraction for most of these kids. They have internet, unlimited internet. They have access to Facebook. They have access to YouTube, so they can use that to organize programs, meetings, and all that. I think honestly, any child going to school who is still in secondary school, even up to A levels, should just have a pay-as-you-go phone, whereby the parents can be able to monitor their phones without internet access. If you want to use the internet, make sure that when you get home, and with supervision, your parents should be able to know that, listen, you're back from school, now is the time I want you to do your homework after you've had your meal. By this time, I want you in bed. No child under the age of 18 should not be under the confines of his or her parents' home, let us by 8 p.m., 9 p.m. What on earth would a child be doing on the streets of London or in any other part of England without the supervision of their parents? Your parents need to know where you are at any point in time. when we have all these balances and checks in place, then we can be able to curtail the movement of our children and know where they are at any point in time.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. Sorry, I was trying to draw your attention back to something.
Yes.
Because everything you're saying makes valid sense.
Yeah.
But I'm going to play the devil's advocate here.
Right.
And I'm going to play it by using an example from one of my close friends and colleagues. Now, he, as you say, is a very good dad. He takes care of his children.
Right.
He does everything the right way. But as you know, a child that will always be rebellious will still be rebellious. So, like he was telling me, without going into all the details, the day he lost control of his children was when his children called, when one of his other child called the police on him, and he was handcuffed in front of his child, simply because they wanted to go somewhere and they would not let them go. You see, so he did everything possible to keep them at home. And the children called the police and alleged that he's been assaulting them, you know, by beating them, by corporal punishment, and by corporal punishment, sorry. Before you knew it, it was in handcuffs. Now he has to take a step back because he did not want to get a criminal record as well, because it will affect him at work as well, just like you spoke about the teacher there. How do you think, with all the best will in the world, no matter whether you're one parent or two parents in the household, how do you think you can handle things like that? You know, as the head of evangelism and youth development and empowerment in your church, do you think those parents, should they come to the church sometimes, will you be able to help them?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Will you be able to step in? And what ways, what advice would you give parents and teachers in such situations?
Right. Viewers, I think this is a very, very, very important aspect that I need to highlight on, because I want us to understand the modalities of life and the principles in which we should live our lives in order to be good parents to our children. Because at the end of the day, no matter what we accomplish in life, if our children don't turn out to be good at the end, everything that we've worked hard so hard for becomes meaningless. Now, to answer what the moderator asked me now, it is quite unfortunate that we find ourselves in a society whereby discipline is secondary. A lot of people they've gone astray, especially teenagers who need a father figure or a role model. And unfortunately, the way and mannerism in which we Africans, our mentality here, when we come into this country, is not actually helping matters. You see, I believe in one man, one woman. Okay? But unfortunately, for various reasons, the society has allowed so much issues to override our judgment in the way they expect us to live our lives. They encourage single mothers. The society will always say, you know, if your husband or whatever is doing things which you think is not right, even though in the eyes of the man, because the way we Africans think and the way we do our things is we like to do things the proper way, and it is against our principles, it's against our ideologies for a wife to call the police, you know, into the house. It is against the way we do our things. Even if there are bound to be issues, I think we should allow the grace of God to come in, to be able to deal with those issues. And the issue of this man that you told me about now, it is so heartbreaking, because this is a man who is trying to bring up his children, you know, in a way that he deems fit to make sure that his children, the boys, turn out to be good citizens in this country. But when it comes to a situation whereby any little thing, you know, the police are getting involved and they are always on the side of the children, do you honestly think that these people are there to make these people better children? No, most of these people who decide your life in parliament, their children are not in our situation. Their children are well taken care of. They know they find their future for them. They know the path and the steps they're going to take. So as parents, as long as we are seen to be doing the right thing at the right time, and in a spirit that is fair, I think even when our children want to go out of want to step out of line, it is our responsibility to tell them that, listen, as your parent, as your father, as your mother, I have every right to discipline you in a way and mannerism in which is fair and is right. Because if anything happens to these children, the onus is still going to come back. How many people are you going to start explaining to that? Look, it is the law that did not allow me to train my children properly. Look, how about all the good children in this country? Because there's still a lot of very good kids in this country.
Right.
So how are those parents taking care of their children?
Right. So,
like I always say, there's always this adage in Yoruba, but my mother always says one thing, but you.
Right.
Yes. So that is why it's always good to engage with the community. Look at some activities that you can get your children involved in, and make sure that at every point in time, you know what your children are doing, especially the kind of friends that they keep. Look at this young man that you just mentioned now. Are you honestly trying to tell me that he's associating himself with good children? No, that cannot be the case. Because if your father tells you something, he brought you into this world and he wants the best for you. In the event that your father has told you that this program or this activity you want to go for, no, you should respect his authority in that house, because if anything happens, it is going to come back on him. So he has every right to say to you as a father that, listen, the event or the program that you want to go for, no, and no should be no. So for a child under the age of 18 to have the audacity to bring in the police, I think it's uncalled for. And it's high time we begin to educate our children about what this kind of mentality or this kind of attitude is having on the household itself.
Right. So that brings me to another question. I was going to ask something else, but what you just said now brings me to the when it comes to the church.
Yeah.
Now, for the past couple of months, I've been going around talking to churches, telling them about this, trying to engage them, trying to get them to work with us, because a lot of the youth, they do attend the church, and that's a community on its own.
Yeah.
But one thing I've noticed is majority of them are not interested. Apart from maybe one or two pastors, some wouldn't even return my calls. Others just keep giving me promises, and they've never bothered, engaging. Like on the 26th of March, for example, like I said, we were down at the Parliament. We had a discussion regarding this. Most of the churches that I went to talk to their youth, only 2 of the pastors showed up. One of them wasn't even around, Pastor Wale, but he sent a representative because he's really interested in what's happening now, and he sent someone to come and represent him. But the other ones did not even bother, and did not give me a phone call explaining why. So that, and what most of the youths were saying in there is that they were not really interested in religion, because what does the church have to do for us? So please, can you not answer that question? What does the church have for the youths?
Viewers, especially for all the youths that are watching me live right now, I will tell you one thing now, that the church actually has a lot to do for you if you are committed, first and foremost, to doing the things the right way, and not only in the right way, with the right mentality. I am a minister in my church, and our general overseer and the head of my church, his emphasis mainly is youth empowerment and youth development. Depending on the area in which you live, I honestly believe that religion has one or two things that it does in our lives, whether we believe it or not. It shapes our life, it shapes how we think, and it brings us closely to God, either being a Christian or as a Muslim. But how you apply it and how you go about the issue of religion boils down to you and your relationship with God. You cannot serve God with one leg in and one leg out. You cannot serve God if you do not believe in what the laws and the commandments of God is. The only way that children, youths, can engage fully in the things of God is by actually being in church. You see, I can understand what the moderator said earlier, that she went to a program Some pastors didn't. You see, there are so many pastors in this country that we live in, and they have their own ways of doing things. Some just believe that it's just their responsibility to gather a group of people every Sundays and praise and worship service, then collect their tithes and whatever, and that's it. If you're going to a particular church, and I can understand the sentiment being echoed by some of the youths. If you're going to a particular church and you're not benefiting anything, you're not developing, then it puts you off. Or when you go to a particular church and all the things and your expectations are not being met, you're not developing, then these are the kind of things that are bound to happen. But it is your duty as a parent to make sure that you go to a church that is spirit-filled. You go to a church where definitely not all churches in this country preach the right thing. So you have to look for, when you go to a church and your spirit tells you something different about that church, I think you should just make sure that you go to a church where the work of God and the things of God come first. Any other thing is secondary.
Right.
When you're a pastor of a church and your number one priority is about tithes, offerings, and all that, then you're sending the wrong message to your audience. But when their problem becomes your problem, you engage more with the members of your church with prayers. If a member doesn't come to church today, you're more particular about them. When members come to you about their problems relating to their children, you engage with them, you pray. Because a family that prays together stays together. And the Bible even said it, where two people are more gathered in my name, I will give them their rewards. So these are the things, there's so many things that are fundamentally wrong. And when the genesis is wrong, when the foundation is faulty, these are the kind of problems that you experience. Now, going back to the youths, if you go to most of the prisons in the UK today, the population of black kids in prisons these days exceeds more than those who are white. So which means any crime that you commit, your punishment is going to be more severe than somebody who is your white counterpart. So you need to begin to understand this, that we live in a society which unfortunately every single mistake that you make, you pay for it dearly. And that is why as parents, yes, go to your work, do your business, but let's make sure that we create time for our children. Let's make sure, that at least at any point in time, one parent is at home to take care of the children. Let's make sure that as a wife and as a husband, we talk and we deal with our children with one voice.
Right.
If, as a father, if you need to correct your child of any misgivings or any wrongdoing, please, madam, mother of the house, let the father of the house, let the husband speak first. If you have any resentments, or if you think that maybe the father is too hard, because sometimes I know how women are, then do that in private, not in the presence of those kids, because what you are doing is you are sending the wrong message.
Right.
And I think when we begin to educate these children and tell them the things that they need to know about Christ, bringing them closely into the house of God, then slowly and gradually we begin to get all these disgruntled children off the streets. Because the problem is, it is not just the society only, it is the mentality of our children as well.
Right.
And when they keep getting this notion that when you're over the age of 16 or when you get to the age of 18, the law says you can do what you want. No. I believe that even till the day you get married, you should still be under the roof of your parents. It doesn't matter whether you are working or whether you are earning £100,000 a year or whatever. Till the day you get married or till the day you decide to say, Dad or Mom, your parents should have the overall say about your welfare. Because at the end of the day, what is best for you is best for them as well.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. You made a statement just now. You said if you go to all these prisons, there's a lot more black youths there than white youths.
Yes.
Now, if you go into a lot of the churches, there's a lot more black youths there than white youths. What is the church doing, or what haven't they done that is making the prison full of our boys? Because to me, the church is meant to be like the moral guardians.
Yeah.
They're meant to guard our moralities.
Yes.
And because of all the systematic breakdowns that we're having,
Yeah.
the schools
Yeah.
are getting powerless.
Yeah.
They can't really do the job they're meant to do.
Yes.
The parents' hands are being tied. They're not allowed to do to discipline their children because of the system. Now, with regards to the church that's meant to be moral guardians, so far as the children are concerned, they're not doing anything. So what do you think the church should do now to step in to help these kids, at least help them understand that just knifing people is wrong? Because a lot of them don't have that conscience, they don't have that heart, they can't relate anymore. Society has turned them into inhuman, unfeeling beings.
Yes. It's so sad, because as a black man in this country and as a father myself, looking and hearing about all the problems we've had relating to violent crime, robberies, especially knife crime, in the last 15 years, it has become a major problem.
Right.
And I think the church, as an entity, we're not doing enough.
Absolutely.
You see, the church, and this is my message to the church here in the UK, make sure that you encourage your youths to do the things of God. Make sure that your youths engage in the things of God in their respective churches. Parents, make sure that under no circumstances do your children give you any excuse why they wouldn't want to go to church on a Sunday, unless maybe they have one or two things that they're doing that will not allow them to be in church on a Sunday. If you are a Muslim, that is quite understandable because you belong to a different faith. But for parents who are watching me this afternoon who are Christians, it is very, very, very important that we put our children on the path to doing things the right way, and that is family in the church. And our churches need to be doing more, in the sense that as a pastor, as a deacon, as an elder, or a bishop, you have that responsibility that God has given you to make sure that you win souls to the kingdom of God.
Right.
And our youths of today, they are the future of tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So if you say you are a pastor in this country, and your community are not feeling your impact, my church is in Peckham, South London, and I know the number of activities my pastor, our mother in the Lord, has organized in that community where our church is and where they actually live. I am a living testimony to that. So your community should come first. If you have a church in any part of London or in any part of England, and the community in which your church is are not feeling your impact, then there's no point you being yourself a pastor, because it is part of your activities, it is part of your responsibilities to engage with the people in that community by way of evangelism, outreach programs, Facebook activities, to make sure that most of the activities even go to communities, leaflets, TV programs, especially within your community. Let your voice be heard. Let your voice be known. That way, if you're a pastor, if you're going on the streets, talk to youths, bring them closely into the house of God. If you know some youths, or if you know some particular neighborhoods that have high crime rates, go into those neighborhoods and preach to them. It is important that you understand that being a pastor is not just by title. It's by doing the things of God the right way, so that you can win so many souls into the kingdom of God. Without that, your mission or your vision for doing the things of God is worthless. And I pray, and I sincerely pray, that all those people with the title of pastors, I pray that you'll be able to bring so many people into the house of God for the glory of His kingdom.
Oh, that was beautifully said. I couldn't have, added anything to that myself. Once again, you're welcome to Voice of the Voiceless. My name is Toyin Morafa, and we're here talking to Deacon Adeoye Obanleowo today. Before we go any further, I'd like to say a huge shout out to HeritageTV as well on their 2nd anniversary. They've been around for 2 years, and they've been giving us, you know, insightful things that's been happening in the community. You know, like the news. They cover programs, they cover everything in the community. We would like to say, you know, a wonderful congratulations to them. And this goes out to Oreoluwa Onabanjo as well, my darling niece. Today is her birthday as well. So happy birthday to you, my darling. Hope you're having fun wherever you are now. Some of the things that came out when we went to the parliament was that we as a community, we as the older generation, we are not we're not like I said, talking the language of the younger ones. We're not engaging them properly. Like, we're talking at them, not talking to them. So as a result of this, we're going to do a couple more programs, special programs, some with the youths. I'll be happy to say we've already got a youth correspondent that will be coming on in a couple of weeks. He will be here at least once a month for now to sit down and talk about this program so that we can really communicate with the youth. Right now, the question I'm going to give you, I'm going to shake it up a bit.
Right, okay.
Yeah. We know that in religion,
Sure.
normally, religion encourages marriage, encourages husband and wife. You're meant to be partners, especially in looking after the kids. But in this community, the sad reality is a lot of marriages are breaking up. A lot of marriages, there's a lot of breakdown, and it really does affect the children. As a result of this, the children play, you know. They play into all the things that's happening now. They become vulnerable, and they become targets, you know, either victims or perpetrators. Now, we've got a lot of single families, single parent homes. You see, how can the church be able to assist them, you know, without castigating them or making them feel like they've done something wrong, you know, because their marriages are broken down? If they've got troubled youths, can they approach the church? Can the church still be able to help them, you know, guide and counsel the youth to stop them from committing violence like this?
See, my answer to that very good question is going to be this. I know there are quite a lot of very good mothers out there who have been victim of circumstances, and majority through their own doing. So, but my focus is actually going to be on what the church can offer children who, for some reason, through no fault of their own, have found themselves in this kind of situation.
Right.
As I said earlier, the church needs to step up and lead from the front and not from the back.
Right.
See, the church, we need to engage more with the society.
Absolutely.
We need to engage more. We need to be doing more, and we need to make sure that we assist children from less privileged backgrounds in the area of counseling, in the area of mentorship. I mean, I met a very young boy in Streatham a few days ago, of Sierra Leonean background, who has been in and out of trouble. And the first questions I asked him is, where does he live? Who does he live with? You know, the father is not there. He's living with his mom. So, and he just goes and places as he wishes, you know, without anybody to checkmate him. And unfortunately, you see, as parents, I think it is high time you hold firm and begin to take power back into your hands, not in a forceful way, but through the Spirit and the grace of God. Right. Now, do not allow anybody to intimidate you in this system. Yes, there are laws, there are rules and regulations in this country, but only if those rules are applied fairly in such a way that it won't be a detriment to our future and the future of our children. If you think that there are issues that you need to address with the church, feel free to talk to your church counselors in your area. Feel free to talk to your pastors or your senior pastor. Prayer groups are very, very important. As I said earlier, a family that prays together stays together. There's no two ways about that. When you engage in the things of God, it is only important that God will visit you and begin to look at your issues as well. We cannot just take the issue of prayers and the welfare of our children as if maybe it's a joke. That is our future. So as churches, As churches, I beg you, let us be seen to be doing more.
Right.
In any way, shape, or form that we can get as many youths off the streets into churches to reshape their lives. As I said, there are so many people, there are so many children under the age of 18 who are living rough, who have left home. Maybe they're experiencing domestic domestic violence.
Yeah.
Especially children from single-parent homes, or maybe women who, for some reason, are now involved with another relationship, whereby those ones are bringing children from that relationship into that new relationship. So it is not always easy. And I know that in this country, it is very, very difficult to survive without going to work, or without going about your daily business. But we have to understand that it takes two to tango. So you must have a way to strike a balance. Make sure at every point, even if your children have to moan about you monitoring them, yes, let them complain. But because it's not about today, it's about the future of these children.
Yeah.
Minimize the amount of time your children spend on Facebook and social media, especially children who are under the age of 18. Children who are under the age of 18 have no business to being on the streets of London anytime after 8 p.m. except maybe they've been sent on an errand. And under strict supervision, it is important that we understand these things. And especially to my people out there, the mothers and fathers who think social life, is more important than bringing up your children. Every Saturday, every weekend, you must be in one party or the other, while other things are become secondary. You better wake up to reality and begin to understand that we are all sojourners in the foreign land. We are all sojourners in the foreign land. Don't expect the system to correct all these abnormalities that we've been mentioning here for the last 30-40 minutes. You have a responsibility as a parent to make sure that the future of your children becomes your number one responsibility. Nobody else is going to do it for you.
Right. Absolutely.
So you have to understand that all these factors that we have highlighted here are there, but those problems can always be eradicated if we stick to a strict guideline by allowing the fear of God to be our number one priority, living together as one family, especially husband and wives, bringing up your children with the fear of God, making sure that in church, either they are a member of a choir or one group or the other, even if it's just sweeping the church. Give these children a sense of belonging. Give them a sense of purpose. Then that God who sees their heart, who sees your heart desires, will surely lead your children to the path of righteousness. So the church, I beg you in the name of God, pastors, leaders in church, ministers, whatever capacity serving in your church, make sure that you're not just holding the title just for title's sake. Make sure that you're doing things your community will be proud of.
Right.
More children off the streets, more disgruntled children off the streets into the church, more less privileged children into the house of God. That's the only way we can educate them about doing things the right way and the proper way. Because remember, children and youths watching me now, it is not about today, it's about your future. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Your parents can only try as much as they can. They can only try as much as they can to do their best for you. But you have to understand that it is a privilege, not your right.
Absolutely.
It is a privilege, not your right. So do the full. If you are moving with some group of people who you think are not going to shape your life the proper way, please disassociate yourself from bad elements. If you are in school and you see some group of students who are always unruly, always trying to do things that are contrary to the school rules and regulations, distance yourself from them. Know the kind of friends that your children keep. Know the kind of friends that come to your house. Know the kind of things that your children get involved in. When you do that, at least you can minimize all these issues that we've been mentioning in the last 40 minutes. The problem is the sole responsibility of our children lies solely in our hands. We need to lead by example. The government can only do so much. The government have their own problems.
That's right.
Our problem is we brought these children into this world. So within extremely difficult circumstances that we operate in this country, through unnecessary interference from social workers, the police, and other organizations, they just think they are there to do a job, but don't allow these people to intimidate you or give you any inclination that they are in control of your life or in control of the welfare of your children. You have that responsibility to take care of your children in a dignified manner, which is fair and which will be seen by many people as a very good way of living a disciplined and successful life. So, pastors, evangelists, deacons, ministers, elders, I beg of you, in the name of God, please engage more in society, engage more in your community. Environment is crucial.
Thank you. Talking about engagement and engaging in the community, I wanted to find out again what things that does the church have, or what support has the church put in place with regard to bereaved families. You know, they normally when we were brought up, they said to us, "Oh, you have to be good in life because if you're not, you can go to hell." Well, right now in this community now, I can actually say it is true. Hell is real.
Yes.
Well, hell is real. When you look at the parents of stabbed victims, they're living in hell.
Yes.
They can't come out of it. When you look at their families, when you look at their friends, it's like the day keeps playing over and over and over. They go through a lot of traumas. They suffer PTSDs. You know, the families become fragmented. What can the church offer them? What can the church do for them? Or has there been things that maybe churches have been doing that have been put in place to help these bereaved families, you know? At least not just to leave it to them alone to heal and grieve, but us as a community to grieve, heal, and do something, you know, with them.
You see, I don't know what the church actually stands for these days. You see, because this issue that you highlighted now, it's so important that anybody that falls victim to these horrendous crimes, the church must be seen to be doing a lot of things in terms of counseling and other important things to make sure that this family, they know that at least they're not on their own. You see, because we always have that mentality here that as long as something is happening and it's not affecting you directly, everybody just wants to wash their hands. We just heard that somebody was stabbed. But we as a body of Christ, because what is the purpose of going to church? The purpose of going to church is to engage with people as one family, pray together, share your problems together, and make sure that we are always there for one another. That is what God expects from us, and that is what Jesus Christ did when he was alive, because he died for you and I on the cross of Calvary. That is very, very important. Now, to buttress what you said, when it comes to bereavements, depending on the financial capacity of that church, because you have to understand that there's some small churches, there's some big churches, we have the KICCs, we have the VPAs. I mean, probably financial capacity wise, you know, some churches are doing more than the rest. You see, I belong to a very small church, but we'll get there. But I think we need to be doing more in terms of counseling, support groups, and visitation. Because it's not easy when you lose a loved one. Absolutely. You know, I have seen so many of my close families and my so close friends. I mean, one of my cousins was a victim so many years ago. You know, that was with the police going back 25 years in this country. You know, we know. I mean, we know what my family went through. Another very saddening case was the Stephen Lawrence Damilola. These are very, very sad occurrences, and you begin to understand the aftermath effect. Look at what happened to Damilola's mother after so many years, because she couldn't take the stress anymore. You see, because the government can only do so much. But I don't know the church she attended then, and I don't know what the church was able to do for them. Maybe at some point in time, they could only do so much, and she felt isolated, you know. And look at what brought up the marriage breakup of Stephen Lawrence's parents, you know, because the man, Neville Lawrence, at some point in time, there was a time he moved back to Jamaica. He couldn't take the stress anymore,
Right.
so that affected it. So all these things does have negative effects. But bereavement is something that, look, you cannot just say, okay, it's just going to be for a few weeks or a few months, so that when the dust settles, then you can cast them away and say they're on their own. It has to be continuous.
Absolutely.
You know, it has to be a continuous thing, because it takes. I'm different. You are different. The way everybody handles situations is different. You know, some they are so strong that, you know, they can, and as they always say, only the strong survive.
Yeah.
Only the wise excel.
Yeah.
You know, it does not apply to everybody.
Yeah.
Some people are so strong they can handle situations, and, you know, within a limited period of time they can get over it. Some
Yeah.
people it takes years. Some, you know, I've seen so many people who have lost loved ones, and within a space of few months and 1 year, within a year, they passed on as well. So bereavement is something that we need to take seriously, especially as churches and as a body of Christ. And I sincerely pray that all those who have been victims of these cruel acts, whether people who go out intentionally to maim and cause havoc on their fellow black people, I pray that those families, the Lord Almighty will be their comfort, and the church will hopefully begin to do more in those areas that I've mentioned, by continuously giving them counseling, financial support when it's necessary, even as I said, depending on the church. Because you see, if you're a member of a church and you're fortunate to be going to a very big church, and you're devoted, you're dedicated, and things of this magnitude happen, you know, it's the responsibility of the church to look after you, to look after your welfare, maybe financial support, you know, all those kind of things. You know, it happens in Nigeria, and I know of a particular prophet who engages in this kind of things. You know, when anybody comes to the church for a particular problem, you know, he will call the person out, and he will begin to garner financial support for this individual to make sure that at that point in time, you know, that person can sustain themselves. You see, because I cannot come to you now and say I have this issue and you're telling me it is well. What is well? Yeah. Let's be serious.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm having some issues, maybe emotional issues, you know. You know, I know that things are not well, and you're coming, it is well as a pastor. You know, let's try to be doing so much to make sure that all these things that we just look at as if maybe, well, I just want to tell you what you want to hear, but not doing the needful. We need to come up and do more as a church and as a body of Christ. That way, we begin to gain our respect back, because a lot of people are looking at churches these days as a business entity, not an organization that is solely interested in doing the things of God. Because if we are interested in doing the things of God, then all these issues that you mentioned now will be addressed in such a way that you give that person who is that victim's family a sense of purpose and a sense of belonging, which is very, very, very important if we need to move forward as a body of Christ.
Body of Christ. Thank you very much. Thank you. The good news is, like I said to you, some churches have stepped forward, you know, because they're really, really interested. They really want to help with this. One of them is you, which is the reason why you're here. We've got a couple of other churches as well that we'll be liaising with over the coming weeks as well. So please watch out for this. Like the only thing we can do is we can try and create awareness and just pray and hope that people like you will come and fix that disconnect with the children. Because like I said, when we grew up, we had the privilege of having the church and mosque, other religions, as our moral, you know, moral guardians, and we're trying to introduce to the youth. We don't want them to walk away feeling really frustrated and thinking they're not ready to help them. You see, that's the reason why we're doing this.
There's one other important thing I want to say.
Right, sir.
Parents, if you notice anything untoward about your children, you know your children better than anybody. Don't let society dictate the kind of life or the kind of name they want to call your children.
Absolutely.
Getting your children to do the right thing at the right time starts from home. Try as much as you can to spend more time with your children. If you notice certain things about your children's behavior, bring them, discuss it with your pastor, and help your children with prayers. With prayers, all things are possible. Don't leave it or probably just sweep it under the carpet that this child is too young. When they get to a certain age, they will change. From a very early age, you need to be able to monitor their behavior pattern and how they think and how they do things. If you have some children who at very early age trying to question your authority, trying to question, they're so argumentative, that obviously this child, you need to be on the lookout. I'm not saying that as parents we need to be too hard on our children, but at least talk to them, engage with them, let them know that no matter how stupid or how silly that issue may be, they have to discuss it with you.
Right.
Because problems shared is problem solved. So as parents, we need to be doing more, and we need to look at things from an open perspective. Don't just dismiss certain things as being important and some less important. Everything relating to our children should be seen as important if we are to yield the dividends of parents and and ensuring that our children turn out to be good citizens, especially in this country that we live in. The government is not going to do it for us. We as parents need to step up and show more discipline, and that involves both the parents, the husband and the wife. They need to be singing from the same tune. They need to be speaking with one voice so that the children can emulate that. It is very, very important that we do that. And when we do that, even when the children, before they step out of line, they will think twice. And for those of you who bring your children from Africa here, make sure you know the reason why you're bringing them here. Absolutely. Very, very important that you understand that.
Yes.
Most of the children that have come from overseas, from other parts of Africa, they've been here, and in most occasions, some parents have regretted bringing them here. So you need to understand why all of a sudden they've come here and they've imbibed the wrong mentality, the wrong attitude. So all these things, we need to checkmate them. We need to understand what their problems are. They are feeling things that that is hidden away from you. You must be able to watch them closely, understand the reason why they have changes. If there's anything bothering them, you must be able to go to them and ask them.
Pastors confidentially, and we'll be able to offer a solution, without it affecting your right here, or to exposing you to the things, for want of a better word. Thank you very much for today. It's been very, very enlightening. We're calling you for a lot of counseling and advice, and see how we can help, with regards to all this that is going on. Thank you once again, viewers, for watching the show. My name is Toyin Morafa, and this is the voice of the voiceless, and hopefully I shall see you next week. You have a great afternoon.
Tolu A. Akinyemi, a renowned poet, author, and performer, brings to us Dead Cats Don't Meow, a metrical masterpiece which invokes love and respect for life. Dead Cats Don't Meow is his first published work and third collection in his poetry for the Discerning series, after Dead Lions Don't Roar and Dead Dogs Don't Bark. Tolu shares his gift of writing with people far and wide. Recently, he received an endorsement as a writer with exceptional talent from the Arts Council England. Each poem examines a part of life, a sensation, a reaction, or an emotion. Individually, the verses breathe their own beat, while the collection knits together perfectly to present an idyllic anthology. Dead Cats Don't Meow is written to help you find your own voice in a world with a cacophony of voices. Join Tolu A. Akinyemi at one of the 4 events to celebrate the launch of Dead Cats Don't Meow. Thursday, April 4, 2019, 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at the Poetry Cafe, the Poetry Society, 22 Betterton Street, Covent Garden, London. Saturday, April 13th, 2019, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Museum Center, Function Room, 8 and 9 Marina Road, Onikan, Lagos, Nigeria. Thursday, May 2, 2019, 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. The Lead and Feel, 23 Westgate Road, Newcastle upon Tyne. Thursday, May 9, 2019, 5:45 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. The Avenue Library and Learning Center, 9 Victoria Avenue East, Blackley, Manchester. RSVP, tolutoludo.com. Dead Cats Don't Meow is available at Waterstones, Barnes & Noble, eBay, Amazon, Patabar, and other outlets.
lọ sí ìpàdé ọlọ́dọọdún Shiloh Convention níbi tó lọ́rẹ̀ tí ń dán Ọlọ́run tó ní ológo new dawn lákòrí rẹ̀ ìgbà ọ̀tun fún gbogbo wa ní òyà o ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ. Ó yá gbogbo ènìyàn ẹ tẹ̀lé mi ká lọ sí Shiloh Convention 2019 níbi tí Ọlọ́run ti máa ń dìgbàgbọ́ àdúrà gbogbo ènìyàn lọ́dọọdún tí ó sì máa ń fi ìdáhùn sí gbogbo ìbéèrè gbogbo wa. Oh yeah, Cherubim and Seraphim Movement Church, Rehoboth Chapel, Ayọ̀ní London, Surulere UK District, Park Lane present Shiloh Convention 2019. Theme New Dawn, Ìgbà Ọ̀tun, coming up on Saturday 27th April 2019 by 12 noon prompt at River Center, Minta Road, Backen, Essex, IG11 OGA. Ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ ìpàgọ́ ọlọ́dọọdún Shiloh ti tọdún yìí tí a pè àkórí rẹ̀ ní Ìgbà Ọ̀tun. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, Ọlọ́run ti ṣetán láti mú ìgbà ọ̀tun dé bá ayé gbogbo wa lórí iṣẹ́, lórí ètò ìṣúná, lórí okòwò àti ìdáwọlé wa. New Dawn in every corner of our life. Come and experience the supernatural power of Jesus Christ at Shiloh Convention 2019, where most senior mother in Israel, Prophetess Duni Ologo, leader in charge, will be hosting everybody. And chief host, Special Apostle Pastor F.A. Abati, Surulere UK District Chairman and leader, Superior Evangelist Shoile, Prophet Bankole John Emilerikan, His Eminence Most Reverend Dr. S.A. Abidoye, Baba Ladura, C&S Movement Church, Ayọ̀ní Worldwide. For more information about Shiloh Convention 2019, call 0772 4922 or email rehobothchapel1@gmail.com. Buses from Backen train station EL2 and EL3, call 079 58646052 or 07984816710. Don't miss Shiloh Convention 2019. It's time for new dawn in your life. Jesus is Lord.
My daughter-in-law, so how are you planning for my son's birthday? Mama, I have to cook up for her. Do you people have ogirisi there? No? It's okay. Okay, let me call you back. Mama Chiji, okay. Hi, so wait a market. Please pack some ogirisi. I am going to visit my son. My daughter-in-law, it's arranged. But you must use original red oil to prepare the soup. What? I'll call you back. Mama Chijo, please include Isio Morocco. My daughter-in-law, everything is now set. But don't forget that gold wristwatch I saw the last time I visited.
Now you can talk until you tire for just 11 kobo a second. Call all networks in Nigeria and 30 international destinations, including US, UK, China, Canada, and India for just 11 kobo per second. Dial *211# to activate.
That's it, Bobo.
The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
Heritage Television. Promoting African culture and heritage at its best. From talk shows that concern you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television. We cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries, and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS, and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.